So today we're going to be recreating the page you see here. We're doing this in ClickFunnels 2.0, but you could probably easily do it in, for the most part, in ClickFunnels Classic. There's only one little part that would really be significantly different, and it's actually not that much difference. So what we have here is a simple bridge page, and this is page 1, and it's very short. And then page 2 is where the customer, after opting in, will go and download what we're giving them. And what we're giving them is a free ebook, and so this is a digital download. And I've already done this. I've already created all my creative, so this shouldn't be too long, but it will go a little long because we have to explain everything, because not everybody has ever used ClickFunnels before or has done everything in ClickFunnels. So let's go back to here, and let's go to our new instance of ClickFunnels 2.0. Here we're going to start by creating a new funnel. We'll just give it a name, and it will create the funnel. Alright, so now we need to add our first page. And some people will map this out as they go along. Other people will build up their pages, particularly if there's things like split paths and things like that ahead of time, map them out. This we're going to go kind of on the fly because it's only a 2-pager. We're going to click on page, and then we're going to go ahead and start out with some templates here. And so we'll choose Optin, and we're going to choose this template right here. And so we have to give it a name. Description. You don't have to fill in description, but we're just going to put in test bridge page. It'll show your page URL, which will generally be the same things you type here, and tell you that the URL is available for use. Will not let you use something that is assigned to something else in ClickFunnels 2.0. And since this is our first page, we want it to index in search engines. Then we'll go to the bottom and click create page. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and click on edit. We'll go ahead and click on our hamburger icon here to get it out of the way. Oh, one other thing. We should have done this first. We want to come here to settings and set our URL, and we want to come here and set our domain. So that's on the ClickFunnels default domains built in. I'm going to go ahead and put it on one of my domains. And click save. Because ClickFunnels gives you a domain just so you can do things, but really if you want to actually make it live, you really need your own domain. And it's easy to remember to set it right now. Alright, so let's go back in. Let's set our hamburger icon to make this full screen. Alright, so the first thing we want to do here is get rid of this nasty yellow border that's all on the outside. So this is one of the things that's not so apparent, but what we're going to do is go to the section, Now that is obviously a border, but if you look here, our border is turned off. But if we turn the border on and then turn it back off, it gets rid of that yellow border, which is probably some sort of CSS that we didn't want. And then I like to save after doing everything or doing a couple things, so we're good. And in case something messes up, you don't lose too much. Alright, so next thing we have here, and we're not going to put a background too much on here. We're going to basically work with this template for the most part, is we have a logo. So I want to replace that with a logo that I've created. So we're going to click on settings and then go to the image URL, and my image gallery already has this logo in here because I loaded it up when I did the test version of this, and it's going to be this bridges to somewhere icon. Right now it's set to auto width. I'm going to go ahead and, always scares me when it does that, change that, and 200 we're going to just stick right there. And so we've got that, and we'll decide what we're going to do with line later. So now we get down to our above the fold section, and because I've already worked some of this out, we're just going to go with that and copy it from here, although we're probably going to have to change the colors and fonts. Alright, so we'll just stick that in there. But it's the same color font, so we're going to have to click on here and accidentally clicked on the column. I'm going to click on the headline. Alright, first thing is I've already got some colors picked out that match or complementary to the colors of all my creatives and my graphics and things. So here they are right here. And so this pine tree color is what we're going to be using for the majority of the text, and we'll change that right there. And then right now this is set to Poppins, and just to change it to something, we're going to change that to Roboto. And Roboto and Poppins are going to be the most common headline fonts you see. Alright, and then we will just make that bold. And then let's see, what did we do here for our font size? Okay, that's at 270 REM. Alright, so that is the same size. Now REM is, you're not used to working with that, is works off percentage. And I like working PX. Now the limitation on 2.0 of ClickFunnels right now is that if you're working PX, you only go up to 72 pixels. If you want to go bigger than that, you're going to have to change it over to the REM. But since we're only 65 here, it doesn't make any difference in this case. Alright, and then we have our next line under that. And so we're going to use this line right here, and we're just going to copy it. And this probably isn't the greatest copy in the world because I'm not really a copywriter, but it should be good enough for what we're doing. Alright, so we're going to come here and replace our text. Again, this is going to be this time a paragraph. I'm going to go ahead and make it that same color. And make this also Roboto. And then let's see, what was our size on that. Actually, I was wrong. We made this DM Sans. And it was 32 pixels. did left align all of that. Alright, so now we have this line down here. And so it is actually a lighter green color. That is going to be, ironically, our dark olive green is the lighter green color in this case. And of course this is paragraph 2. This is going to be 30 pixels. Alright, which brings us to our button. Now, if you notice here, it has the stock button here on our page here, but the one we used is in the middle, so we have to make several changes to this button. So for starters, we're going to say get the book now, and that will go right up here in the button text. Now if we want subtext, that would go right there. We're just going to go with that one line. And then in this case we're going to choose for this to open pop-up, so we'll just leave that there. Next we need to hit override to make all the other changes. ClickFunnels 2.0 has a style guide, but I generally do not use style guide for projects like this, which are short term and where I'm going to just use unique colors just for this page. I think the style guide is better if you have a brand colors or some kind of regular brand you use, or even regular color set to use for most of your work. But that's not the case here. We're just going on the fly and just creating something. And so by default, the font will be, for buttons will be Font Awesome 5 Free. We are going to change that to Roboto. And make it bold. Alright, so that's one thing. Another thing I'm going to do here is turn off the border. And it doesn't affect this button, but some buttons you can have it will, and the border will actually put a border that can be a different color around the button. But that we don't care about. Now here in the corner, we're going to set that to 10 to give it some rounded corners. Now, unlike most things, if you want shadow here on the button, it's not in this main panel, but you have to go to your settings here and choose edit style, which brings us to the style guide. And so if we want some kind of shadow there, we'd have to choose it there. Now it's already there because I turned this on earlier, but by default it will be off a lot of times. And here I'm going to go ahead and actually increase this a little bit and see how that works. And then our color here is just black, and I have that 15%. Then anytime you change the style guide, click on update, and we're out of there. Okay, so one other thing we're going to need to do here on our button, and this is probably the most annoying thing, is we're going to take this color here and change the background color of the button. So we're going to go to custom, type in our color. Alright, and then we will go with our corn silk for our whitish color. And that all seems pretty easy, but it's deceptively easy. Here's the problem: is your button has 3 states: default, hover, and press. And so if we go to the other two, they're not the same color. So the press is generally slightly darker color, so we can just put that earth brown color, whatever it is. Actually, I need to go get it again. So it's the earth yellow color. Simple enough for that. We will generally just stick it in there and just make it a little darker, which you can see right there. And that's pretty good. Now the hover is a lot of times, and this is your choice, it could be a solid color or it's a gradient, and it's a gradient a lot of times. So again, we're going to go ahead and change that color, and then we can choose, leave it solid like that, or we can choose a gradient, which is going to give us 2 controls up here. And so that's our first control right there. Now if we go to the other one, it's still black, and we're going to change that to the same color. And this is just the way I do it. Now that little square likes to trail around and follow you like a puppy dog. I'm going to change the direction of the gradient to horizontal. This one will change. Okay, now they're both the same color. Some people use black. I just use the same color. And then for this one here, make sure you got it selected. I'll crank this down to about 66%. Alright, so now we got all our colors covered on the button. And we have it set to open the pop-up. So let's go ahead and save. Now we have a 2-column row here, and so we want to replace this image with an image that I've already created. And since our book product is something to help people create bridge pages, lead pages, things like that, we want to show a guy that's frustrated with trying to do that. And so that's just a stock picture. It probably comes in pixels. It's just something I got from the default photo library in Click Designs, and it's a royalty-free picture, so that's good enough for that. And the size works out pretty well, so we're just going to not even mess with the size. Now, our template here, as most of these templates, has a lot of sections that we could use, put in testimonials, things like that. But we're not going to be doing that. We're going to keep this very simple. So we're going to get rid of some of these sections, and you do that just by going to your section and clicking the trash can icon. So it brings us down here to our footer area, and actually I'm just going to click that out and start a new section. And make it full page, and then we'll make it 1 column. And then we will click an image and bring that up. In our image, we're going to put that same logo that we had at top. Except this time maybe I'll drop it down to 158. Okay. And actually, let's try something here. And this is actually something I didn't do on the other one, but maybe we ought to. Let's see, let's go with our earth yellow here. Let's see how it looks. Because we need to have some way of kind of defining a little bit that footer being different. Now sometimes that can be a shadow line or something like that. Let's try this color here. See if it's not too horrible. Okay, it's not. I might fade it out though some. I'll probably just leave it full. Alright, so that's not too bad. We're going to go with that, and then I'm going to add another paragraph element. And this is something you want to have on all your pages, and certainly if you're doing this for somebody else, they want to have this there. Now this is a universal section, and we're going to turn the other one into a universal section. Right now we just want to grab this text. So our first line is generally some kind of trademark line saying who we are, our copyright, all rights reserved. And so we'll go with that. And what did we do here? This was, I believe, going to be DM Sans. No, it was Open Sans. Yeah, we'll just keep it Open Sans. That'll be fine. And then it's looks like it's black. And we'll probably just keep it that. It actually looks like it may be some other color. Anyway, we're going to just go with that default color. That's fine for just the footer. Alright, and then the other line we want to grab from here, and sometimes we'll just say privacy policies, and this one says privacy policy and terms. Go ahead and say that universal section now. And I'll just go ahead and duplicate this and then put this in here. And so this is where we would have links to our privacy policy, our terms and conditions, things like that. And the way you would do that is to underline the item you want to link. Click on the toolbar, click the link icon, and you would, in this area, get rid of that hash sign and put in the URL that your put a URL that the privacy policy is assigned to. And then also here you can choose your colors here. This looks like that's the same color. We'll just leave it like it is. But ideally, if you don't want the link to turn a different color every time somebody clicks on it, you'll leave it, make it the same color as the text. And then you can also here press this arrow and it will make it open in a separate tab. But anyway, that's the way that would work. And you see now we have that underline on the privacy policy because it's linked, but it doesn't actually go anywhere because there's no URL for it to go to. But anyway, you want to go ahead and do that, and then I will gently on here try to shrink this down some by going first to my section and reducing my top and bottom padding, and then going to my row, reducing the padding for top and bottom, and then generally I will want this a little closer to the icon, so I'm just going to, in this case, remove the top and bottom padding. Then I'm going to go to our second item here, move the top padding, move it up a little closer, and I generally will also make this about 2 pixels smaller than the top line. But that's up to you how you want to do that. Anyway, we're going to save. And so here's what our page looks like. It's just a little short bridge page saying, hey, are you frustrated with building bridge pages and landing pages? Use already proven design. Get the new Bridges Somewhere book with 100 bridge and landing page designs. Get the book now. And so what we want to do before we get too far here is take our footer, and we're going to save it as a universal section, which will allow us to not only paste it in the other sections, but any changes we would make to it will be changed on all those sections where it resides. So I already have a folder here for this project, and we're going to make this Bridges footer 2, because the one on the test page was Bridges footer 1. We want to make sure we have checked make section universal and click on save section. And once we do that, you're going to see it has this purple area around here, and if you want to edit it, you have to click on edit block. But that's all we're going to do with the footer. And now we want to work with our pop-up, and so this is what we did there. So first of all, we're going to just go ahead and copy this. And place it in here. And then we're going to go ahead, we're in the column, not the headline. Alright, now we're there. Alright, again we're going to go for our pine tree color, for our text color. And then we will we'll go ahead and we are going to override and change that to Roboto. And we'll make that bold. And let's see, what was our font size here? It was 58. So we'll make this the same. Alright, and then this next line below there, we're going to copy this line. And paste it here in this paragraph. And again, we're going to make the color that pine green color. I'm going to override and make that DM Sans or font. And we'll probably go with medium, I believe. Let's see, what was our size on that? Okay, that's it, we got the column. It was 18. This should be 18. Sure is. Okay. Now, if you notice, I have two input boxes, and you have to have at least on a pop-up an email input. Now, so a lot of times, some people have the name and the email. Sometimes just email. So I decided on this one that we're not going to have an input for the name, so we're going to click out the input box and also this subhead line that labels the box. and we're going to just get rid of that. And then here I'm going to get rid of the top margin and bring this up higher. And then for our subheadline, we're going to go ahead and change that to the green color, which is more or less our black color for this project. Other than that, we've got an input. You just need to make sure that it's input to what you got it labeled for. It says it's email, and this is email. It's required. And we can do a lot of other things in here, but we really don't care about that right now. Okay, and then we have our submit button, which is another little button jam we got to do. So first of all, we are going to change it to the color we want. Now, of course, if you set this all up in the style guide, you won't have to do all that. But if you want to change anything style guide, then you kind of have to go through this. So we've got our color there. Let's see, our legend was get the book, so we'll go to the top and change it to that. Now we want this to submit the form, so we need to have on click set to submit order submit form, which it is. Alright, so our button font is Railway. We're going to change that to Roboto. And we will change the text color to the corn silk color. Alright, and we'll go ahead and make that bold. And what do we make that over here? Let's see what font size we used on that. Actually, letter away, but on that one, but we already changed it on this one, so we'll go with that, and font looks like it's about 30 pixels here. Alright, good. Now, of course, we have the same problem we had on the other one, is that now that we changed the button color, we have to change these other button state colors as well. Otherwise, it's going to look all funky. And then I forgot that I had corn silk and not earth yellow there, so we'll have to change that. Alright, we're on the press color. And I hate it when that happens. So we'll go ahead and just drop that down, make it a little darker. Hover. We will set it up. On this one, I think I'll just leave it solid, just for the pop-up, and so we don't have to mess with this creating a gradient. Alright, so all our states are good. And then let's see what we did here. That looks fairly close, except now we want to put in an image. So we're going to just click right there on Add Element. We're going to choose an image. We're going to go here and choose our book mockup. Which is right there. Alright, then we'll size this down some, a little bit. We'll go with 265. Then I can drag this up here to be above everything. And we want to check our pop-up settings and make sure that we don't at this point have a background turned on. If we don't, and from doing the other one, I know that we need to do this. So we're going to reduce our, or increase our top margin. We're going to make it 150, which drops down our pop-up. But then we're going to go to our image, and we're going to reduce the top margin. Let's make that a little less, to 125. Okay, and so now we have the book image sticking up above the pop-up and give it a little bit more noticeable character there. And that's called no to top margin. And it's easy to do, so let's go ahead and get out of there. Alright, so our pop-up's looking pretty good. We've got room here for everything. We still see everything down here, which is what we want. One other thing on the pop-up is you can choose to have it not show on load, which we have it set not to. And you can also have it show on exit when somebody tries to leave the page. So normally that's what you want to do, is to grab attention and say, hey dummy, don't go away yet. You're missing the opportunity. Alright, so that's pretty good. And that's pretty much what we need to do for page 1 other than save. So right now we've got everything from our heading, which is just our icon. We've got our 2-column row in the above the fold section. We've got our button set up to open the pop-up, and we have our footers created and saved as a universal section. So let's take a look at what this looks like in real time. And it says we're viewing the preview page. We're going to click on that. Alright, and this little thing here is just something that's on my computer, so just ignore that. Alright, so here we got our image. We got this, and you see it, since it, when I pushed up that I'm trying to leave the page, so it brought the pop-up up. Alright, we have our footer there, there's our picture, there's our text, and then if we click the button, it brings up the pop-up. So far, so good for page 1. And that's all we're going to do. I think this is kind of running along, so I'm going to make this a 2-part video series. And in the next video, we will go ahead and we will work with the thank you page, where the customer is going to be able to download the item they want. And so this is Tim Willis. I am a certified ClickFunnels funnel builder, and I sometimes do tutorial. I haven't done many ClickFunnels tutorial. I've done more for ClickDesign, the graphic program I use, but I'm going to start doing some of these. And since I'm new at it, it's going to be a little ugly, a little uncoordinated. I'm not the best video maker, but this is a chance for me to show people how to do things in ClickFunnels. It also is good for me as a funnel builder to go through this process and actually have to think about things that I normally would do automatically because I just know to do them. But when you try to break it down for somebody that's not familiar with what you're doing, you really have to think about the steps in the process. So this is Tim Willis. This is part 1 of our Bridges to Somewhere bridge page, and then we will move on to video 2 and do the thank you page. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and have a nice day.